And it is time to get started. Hey, welcome to At the Track Live. I am Coach James. I am the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics. And you might be saying, what is All About Aerodynamics? Well, I am going to tell you. All About Aerodynamics is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics related topics, including but not limited to force, friction, aerodynamics, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic force, a whole range of topics. After we have covered all of the science topics and conducted experiments to drive home those concepts, then and only then do I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student has the opportunity to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything they've learned in the course. After they've selected their cars, then they examine their cars, they weigh their cars, they test the speed of their cars, they check the year the car was manufactured, they check the materials the car is made from. All of the information they can observe, they put into a spreadsheet, and then, after they've made their observations, after we've conducted all the experiments, learned all the science, we set up a 1/64th scale quarter-mile drag strip, and the students race their cars, and they observe how their cars perform. Did their cars perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they select that car again, or would they make a different choice based on what they observed? In the end, we have fun with Hot Wheels cars, and we learn science. What could be better? If you would like more information about All About Aerodynamics, all you have to do is go to our website, aaAerodynamics.com, or you can follow us on Instagram, aaAerodynamics, and all the information you need to contact me is in the bio, and you can find out how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event. But this is not all about aerodynamics. This is all about Aerodynamics presents At the Track Live. So what is At the Track Live? Well, before I can bring those cars in for the students to use, I have to make sure that I know which cars I'm bringing in so that I can have them organized and ready to go. And I have cars in storage that I haven't opened because until I catalog those cars, can't let the students use them. But this gives me an opportunity to do that. So I go into storage, pull out cars, crack those open, take a look. I get my picture, I get a short video, all of that I take and enter into the master spreadsheet, and then the cars are ready to use. But since we have the cars here, since we have the track set up out there, we might as well have a little tournament. So every Saturday we have a little mini tournament with the new cars that I've introduced. But in addition to that, you have the opportunity to participate because you can go to AtTheTrack.live and you will have 3 options. One is the YouTube stream link, one is the Twitch stream link, but the third link is the most important link. That is the link that will take you to this page. And on this page, you will see all of the cars and the All About Aerodynamics At the Track Live fleet listed, numbered, cataloged, all right there. There are currently 911 different cars in our fleet. And when I say different cars, I mean different cars. There are character cars, there are trucks, there are vans, there are coupes, there are luxury automobiles, there are hypercars, there are the T-Rex Destroyer, there are dinosaur-related cars, like that. There are bug and spider-related cars. There's this one, which is the Speed Spider. And then there's another, I think it's called the Arachnarod. So if you're into spiders, we've got you covered. There are fantasy cars. There are cars like boats, cars like hovercrafts. We've got the Hoverstorm. If hovercrafts are your thing for some reason, there you go. We've got the Hoverstorm. If maybe you like your cars older, we've got cars from the 80s. We've got gimmick cars like this one, the Rear Ender. This is a car that I had in the 80s, and the gimmick is that if you slam another Hot Wheels car into the back side of this one, the bumper will flip around and show crash damage. So that is just another little feature of this one. Maybe you like old 80s stately luxury cars like this 35 Classic Caddy. I remember having this as a kid. I think this was one of those ones that you get as a gift, because I can't imagine and don't remember going into a store and saying, "Ooh, that's the car I want, the 35 Caddy." But here it is nonetheless. It's right there, the 35 Caddy. Maybe you want to go a little more modern. You could go with this Ferrari P4. And this car's interesting. It's metal. I believe it's metal on metal. Either way, the body is metal, so it's probably a little heavy, but good looking car. Whatever kind of car you're thinking about, Piranha Terror. We've got Piranha cars. If you're a fish or your thing, we have a Finding Nemo, a Nemo car. So, and there are also at least 2 shark themed cars. So we've got sharks, we've got piranhas, we've got clownfish, whatever. We've got plenty of Lamborghinis, if that's what you're into. This Lamborghini Aventador, number 141. Nice looking car, good pick for the track. So whatever kind of car, this 80s Ferrari, I remember playing with this one. This is a Matchbox car. Shows signs that I clearly was playing with it, but it is what it is. The hot dog car, the Street Wiener, that car actually raced a few weeks back, and it really just depends on which car this car is going up against as to how it performs on the track. But if food is your thing, we've got the Car de Asada, which is a taco car. We've got the Sushi Tuner. We've got the birthday cake car. I forget what the name is, but it's a slice of birthday cake turned into a car. So food, we've got you covered. No matter what kind of Hot Wheels car it is that you're into, there is some version, some kind of representation of that car in our fleet. And all you have to do is find the car that you want, take the number, and drop that into the chat. Once you do that, I will pull that car, and boom, just like that, you are entered into our tournament. And there's a couple of cars. This is one that I just found here, this Hollowback, and I'm going to write this down because this car is one that came in car number 196, the Hollowback, that came in McDonald's Happy Meals, probably in the early 2000s. And my son has a couple of these. And what's interesting is there's a little switch on the bottom, and you can flip that switch, and lights would come on inside the cabin. But over the years, those batteries have gone dead, and so I've had the car. The car is in the fleet, but just as a car, without the working lights. Well, I found on YouTube, like everything else, a video where a guy had one of these, took it apart, and it turns out there's just 2 little watch batteries inside the car. And since this car is not like the typical Hot Wheels car, where if you want to open it up, you have to drill into the bottom, this one, there's actually, at least the one he had, I have to check this one, excuse me, there's a screw. And Once you pull out that screw, then the bottom detaches and you can get access to the little battery compartment and just switch those out. So I am going to see if I can do that. And the reason I think I might be able to do that is because I had to buy some tools to get into another car, which I'll talk about in a minute. But if you want to pick the hollow back, if that is the car that you think will be the fastest, then all you need to do is take that number, 196, drop it in the chat. I will pull the car, and then we'll see if you are correct. So, oh wait, there it is, the Arachnarod. I mentioned that earlier. So spiders, we've got the Speed Spider, we've got the Arachnarod. That's the way you want to go. There you go. We've got tanker trucks, the fast gassing. I wouldn't expect this car to be fast, but it just depends on matchups. Maybe someone will pick another equally large tanker type truck, and then you'll have a shot. But I would go with a different car. We have this one, the Slide Kick. The Slide Kick is one of the few cars that has actually competed against and put some pressure on our fastest in fleet car. And our fastest in fleet car is the car that has won our weekly tournaments. And our current fastest in fleet car has been winning the weekly tournaments for a long time now. For months, going back to, I think, March, roughly. And the car that is our current fastest in fleet is this one. It is the, I guess it's going to be a mystery because the picture's not up. Let me see if I can make this adjustment here so that we can see it, because it would be nice to be able to see our fastest in fleet car. Let's see if this is going to happen. There's me. There we go, right there. Nice. This is the BlitzSpeeder. The BlitzSpeeder is the fastest Hot Wheels car on the planet, and it has been our fastest in fleet champion for months now. It was also our fastest in fleet champion last year, and for a good part of the last, I'd say from about this time last year, it went into November, and then it was actually beaten. It was beaten out by the Gazella R, and after it was beaten out, then the Gazella R went on a run, and the Gazella R was our fastest in fleet champion for quite some time until the BlitzSpeeder made a triumphant comeback in a rematch and beat out the Gazella R and has not looked back. There have been really very few competitive races that the BlitzSpeeder has had. And the Slide Kick, which I showed earlier, is one of the few cars that was able to give the BlitzSpeeder a run for its money. It didn't win, but it came closer than most cars do. So once you select your cars, if your car is fastest and faster than all the other cars that are selected and race, then you will have an opportunity to try and take down the BlitzSpeeder. Maybe your car can do that, maybe it can't, but we are going to find out. Hey Jordan, let's see. Bad to the Blade. That doesn't sound familiar, but let me go ahead and take a look. Check the spreadsheet and sort it by name. Bad to the Blade. Oh, yeah, we do. It is car number 866. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Car 866. Because I don't recognize the name. But let's take a look. Car 866. So that would have been one that raced pretty recently, probably in the last month or two. Oh, this one right here. Bad to the Blade. I remember picking this one. I mean, I remember buying this one. I just don't remember. I don't remember that being the name, but obviously it is. Yeah, this one. I think it did pretty well, but what ended up happening with this one is that it's narrow, and sometimes narrow cars, depending on what kind of launch they get, they start to kind of bounce around the track, and sometimes, especially if they hit the right side, or the left side, it starts up Isaac Newton's third law of motion, that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and we end up with the cars just bouncing back and forth. They hit the right side, bounce off, hit the left side, and that little bit of friction that they encounter every time they hit one side or the other tends to slow them down. And with this car, I'm trying to think if it was there's this one, and there's another one that I'm thinking of that has a similar shape. But one of the other things is that the back end of this car, because it didn't have like a wide flat back end to press up against the launching block, it ended up, like, sometimes it would get a great launch, other times it would get pushed off kind of to one side or the other. And really getting a good consistent launch is probably one of the most important things, because if a car gets a good solid launch, then that eliminates the chance for it to bounce around the track. So that already reduces the impact of the friction to slow the cars down. And then they're pretty much just working against drag and then gravity, depending on the weight, how much it will impact it. So yeah, bad to the Blade. If you want to see that one race again, then all you have to do is go ahead and drop that in the chat, and I will pull that car again, and we'll see what it can do against the cars that it goes up against today. Bad to the Blade. This fire truck, this Scania P360 fire truck, that was a surprise. One, because it was a Matchbox car, and Matchbox cars don't tend to do very well on our track, and because it's a big rectangle, it's a big fire truck. But it actually did pretty well, considering. Obviously it didn't win the tournament that day, but it did pretty well. And right above it is the Ain't Fair. This bus was another surprise. That was another one that you wouldn't think, just based on the aerodynamics, that it would be able to be even kind of competitive, but somehow, some way it was. So that's why I always say you have to race the cars. We can have theories, we can know different things just based on past observations, but really, until the cars get on the track and make that trip down the 1/64 scale quarter mile, you really never know. So we've seen some surprises, but bad to the Blade, 866. So we've got that one in the fleet. There are, as I mentioned, 911 cars. Our 911 car ended up being, I switched the numbers around, so the 911 car is this Chevy Caprice Classic, this NYPD cop car edition. So I figured the 911 car will make it the cop car. But we've got so many different styles and types of cars, and we are going to introduce some new cars today, and then we will hit the track and see what the outcome is. But a couple of things. So I mentioned that I'm going to try and open up that hollow back car and switch out the battery, since I saw somebody do it on YouTube, and of course if you see somebody do something on YouTube, it can be done. But I tried to open up this one, the Video Racer, which I showed the footage last week, and then 2 weeks ago we put this on the track, and it is the Hot Wheels car that came out in like 2012, 2011, and it's got a little video camera in there and little micro USB right there, on off switch, little LCD screen on the bottom, and you can put this on the track and it will give you a first person perspective of the cars racing on the track, which is kind of interesting, kind of cool. So I shot the video and I just put a post on Instagram, and I think I did put it on YouTube Shorts, just a little quick review, and you can see some of the footage from this camera and this car. The problem is that this thing is 13 years old and it doesn't hold the charge. So when I charge it up, it will charge, but it will only hold a charge for about a minute or two. So I can get one race in, 2 races if I'm really quick with it. But other than that, it just dies. And it used to, a full charge, it would stay charged for about at least 20 minutes if you're, just keeping it on. So what I'm going to try to do, because I saw that other video where the guy opened up the hollow back, I am going to try and open up the Video Racer. Now, I tried it a couple of days ago, and the problem is it's got these screws, but they've got little triangle indentations right there, so you can't use a regular screwdriver to open it up. The guy on YouTube used a little torque bit and was able to pull it out. So I thought, okay, I'll do that. I did it, and I pulled the first one out. Came out no problem. After that, the others, I couldn't get a grip on those and couldn't get them out. And I was afraid that I was going to strip the screws. So I went on Amazon and ordered a set of these triangular bits. And one of these, one of the smaller ones, should fit in this, and I should be able to take it apart. And the reason I'm going to take it apart is because I want to see what kind of battery is in here, and perhaps if I see that, it'll be something that I can change, order, online, change, and then start to use the Video Racer to get some footage and give it a longer charge. But we'll have to see. So that's something that I'm going to go back. I'll go back and do that later on, probably tomorrow, and you'll be able to see with me what the outcome is, if I'm going to be able to find the battery in this and swap it out. So we'll see. After that, I'm also going to be able to use these to open up the hollow back, and then there's another one of those McDonald's Happy Meal cars with the light. So once I open those up, they just have the 2 little watch batteries, and if it's anything like the car the guy opened up on YouTube, then I should be able to open those up, swap out the batteries, and be good there. So some of these older cars are getting a little bit of an update, but only, hopefully I didn't strip out the screws, and I can just use these little triangle bits and find one to open it right up. The other modification that I made was to this one. A few weeks ago, maybe it was Never Ending or somebody picked the Riley Scott Mark III right here. Hey, rough shot. Picked this car, and the problem was, let me switch over to this view. The problem was right here on the with the splitter. It curved up around the edges of the car, right around the edge, and that made it just too wide to fit into the launcher. So what I did was I was able to clip off the one on the left, and once I did that, I thought I'd clip them both off, but once I clipped off the one on the left, it fit into the launcher. So once it fit into the launcher, we were good. So I didn't have to make any additional modification. So now it fits, no problem. So this car will be racing, and even though it wasn't technically, it was picked, but then it couldn't fit, so it didn't race. But just the shape of it, I like how it's low. It's a metal car. We're gonna find out how much it weighs. It's got this flat wing, so that should press right up against the launching block, and it's a wide car. And so what we were talking about earlier with the bad to the blade, how it's narrow and it has a tendency to kind of bounce around the track. This car being wide is not going to bounce around because it's too wide to really turn at any angle to scrape up against the sides of the track. So wider cars are definitely a way to go, and we'll see how this one performs. I think it should do well. So this one just had to clip that little piece, and it was all ready to go. And the little tool, the little like these plier, I forget the exact name. I just was digging around at Harbor Freight until I found something that would do the job. And they're like pliers, but also with a cutting edge. So it was pretty easy to just clip that off. And it reminded me, or Christopher reminded me, that we have this one still, the MST Suzuka, and the problem with this one was pretty much the same thing, that these little, like right around the edges, that purple part coming up, it sticks up just enough on both sides that it wedged the car into the launcher, and we couldn't do anything with it. So I am going to use that same tool and see if I can get in there and crack this off. So I'll probably only need to take one of these off, and then it will fit into the launcher, because right now it does not, and it's because of those things right there on the side. So I'm going to clip those off, and we will get that car back into the fleet. So we are going to take a look at the cars that we're going to have today. And I've got Roughshod's pick. I've got Christopher's pick set aside. Jordan, if you want to make a pick, if anybody wants to make a pick, just go to AtTheTrack.live, scroll through the cars, find the number of the car you want, drop it in the chat, and I'll pull it in a little bit, and we will see how that car does. So I have a box when I was going through storage, and it's got a bunch of cars in there, just random cars. I don't know why. I think they were loose, and I got tired of them being loose, so I decided, all right, I'll put them in here. And so since we've got all these cars in here, I figure I need to clear this case out. So either these cars are going into the fleet, or they're going to be prize cars. And the prize cars are cars that students can win and pick from when they answer questions. They had good citizenship, winning games, different things like that. And I don't typically the cars are duplicate cars, and so I don't really have a need to have duplicate cars in the fleet. So duplicate cars end up as prize cars. So let's see what we've got here. First one. Now this one has all kinds of plastic around the edges, just like those other two. So let's just make sure it'll fit into the launcher first. It does. All right. First part, it passed. Second part, let's see if we've got one also. Because it's loose, I got to check to make sure there's not a problem with the axles. No, wheel spin. This one is called the Flight 03. So let me go ahead and scroll down. We have a Flippin' Fast, and that is it. So now we have a Flight 03, a little hatchback. And yeah, let's go ahead and check out how much it weighs. We know that the BlitzSpeeder weighs 32.4 grams. That is our fastest in fleet car, and that is also right at the front end of what we call the sweet spot, which is about 32 to 36 grams, which is where you kind of want a car to be if it's going to be competitive on our track. The Flight, what did I say? Flight 03, whatever. It weighs in at 37.6 grams, so it's just a bit ahead of the kind of ideal weight. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. The Flight 03. Anytime, switch on over. I don't know why this switcher's being a little slow today, but that's okay. Better late than never. And I'm going to go ahead and shoot this video right here of the Flight 03. Enter that into the spreadsheet. And this is going to be car number 912. So we are kind of moving right along, because when I started at the track live, we were at car number 450. So we have kind of doubled that up, and here we are with the Flight 03. I don't remember if I said 30 or 03. Either way, so this one, hatchback. I think when you look at the back end, that yellow bar is, it's got kind of like a double wing. It's got a wing up top and a wing down below, but that one down below, the yellow one, is the one that's going to press up against the launching block. Seems like it should get a good solid push out of the launcher. And you know, a lot of that yellow plastic trim just seems extra and a little unnecessary. It's almost like the car is sitting inside of a case or a carton or some kind of frame. But I think this car, there's nothing about this car that tells me it shouldn't do well. It's looks kind of interesting in that the red part is metal, and then there's a metal base, and then all that yellow is plastic. So I guess that's where, you know, it's at the top end, just above the top end of our kind of sweet spot, coming in at 37 grams. So let's go ahead and get this still picture, and once I have that, then we will officially have our 912th car. Get a little fill light there. And here we go. Nice. All right, so we have the Flight 03. Let me double check. Flight 03, the manufacturing year is 2002, and yeah, it is metal. It's metal base, and it is metal body, which is a little unusual for sort of the modern Hot Wheels cars. Usually it's plastic body, metal base, or metal body, plastic base, but very rarely do I run into cars that are metal on metal, mainline cars. All right, so that's one car that we've gotten out of the overflow box. So let's see what's next. What do we have in here? Let's see. Which one are we gonna pull? I guess I'll pull see what this green one is. Now this one, again, let me You won't be able to see it because of the green screen, but believe me, there is a car right here. Checking the wheels. Wheels are good. All right, this is a 68 Cougar, and let me go ahead and check and see if I already have one of these in the fleet. 68 Cougar. We have a 68 Capo Camaro, a 68 Corvette. No 68 Cougar. Let me check 1968, because sometimes we have a 1968 Mazda Cosmos Sport, and that is it. So now we have a 68 Cougar. Let's go ahead and just double checking the wheels. Yeah, they spin. Everything's good there. Checking the weight on this one. 37.5, so it's almost identical to the Flight 03. Switch over here and take a look at this one. And this is the 68 Cougar. And it looks... So some of these cars, some of the loose cars, when I go to the... they have a Hot Wheels swap meet out here. And most of the time, people are really out there. They're selling the like the premium cars and special editions, things like that. I want the mainline cars because I want cars with plastic wheels. So a lot of these collectors and people at the Hot Wheels swap meet, they will have mainline cars, but that's not really where they're making their money or what they're really interested in. So a lot of times you can get pretty good deals on these cars because that's not what they're interested in selling. For them, the mainline cars are just kind of taking up space, and they'll have loose bins, and you can get, 5 cars for $4 or whatever the little deal is that they have going on. And I'm able to pick up some interesting cars, and this, I believe, is one from one of those loose bins. And as long as the wheels spin, doesn't matter to me. I don't need the case, so it's all good. Car number 913 is the 68 Cougar. And this one, I don't have, it's not a car that I have any expectations that it's going to be fast. I think it will be fine, but at the end of the day, I think we've got a few other cars that are probably likely to be faster than this one. But with these old school cars, you never know. Although I don't know how, I don't know if this is actually old or if it is just a newer model that, let's check the year, answer all those questions. There, 2001. So it's not exactly, it's not new, it's not old. It's kind of right in the middle of sort of my collecting range. And let's see here. Yeah, the premiums, yeah, definitely. And when I go to the swap meet, there's all kinds of cars that I've never seen in the stores before that they have. And then sometimes I think what's going to happen, what I'll probably start to see, depending on how many they make, is now that Hot Wheels is back doing deals with Ferrari, when they put the Ferraris out, unless they really just kind of flood the stores, then I have a feeling that, the collectors will scoop those up, and I'll probably have to, end up picking them up at the swap meet or something like that. So we'll see. 2001 for this 68 Cougar. So we've got a 68 Cougar we've got the Flight 03, both from the overflow bin. So it's pretty unique that in the overflow bin we have not had a duplicate car yet, which makes me wonder why I haven't pulled some of these cars sooner. But hey, better late than never. All right, let's see. What else do we have in here? What kind of good looking car do we have? Let's check this one. This is a nice car. I think we may already have one. This is the 24 hours. Spelled, well, the number 24 and then OURS. Hours. I don't know if it's supposed to be one of the example of one of those rally cars from one of those races that goes 24 hours. I don't know. But it's a nice looking car, and I hope that we don't already have one in the fleet, because I like this one and I want it to stick around. 20, let's see, we've got 20. Yeah, we already have one. And it's an old 45. Let's take a look, see what it looks like. I might have to have a 24 hours versus 24 hours loser leave the fleet situation. And number 45. Oh no, see? That is not 24 hours. That is 24/7. Let's see. Oh, no. I had it wrong. 539. All right, let's scroll down. I was excited. I thought maybe, just maybe. Oh, it's in the blue, so that means we've introduced it relatively recent. Oh, here it is. Okay, right here. The 24 hours. That's not a bad looking one either. So this one, I hate to kind of give this one away. Sometimes some of these cars, I don't want to give them away as prizes. I'm just hanging on to them because they're just good looking cars, and this one is one of those. So I think I probably would have preferred it over the red one, but I'm not really mad at the red one. Here's what the other one looks like. There's the red one there, and then this is the other one. So I think I'm going to be hanging on to this one. This one is going to stick around, but it is not going to be in the fleet. Yeah, this is nice. So sometimes I still don't understand. Sometimes the Hot Wheels cars, they put all kinds of details and decals and the nice wheels, the good color scheme, just everything sort of all out, and then other times not so much. But this 24 hours is sticking around, and now I'll go back to the overflow bin and see what else is in here. Now there's this one. I know this one's definitely already in the fleet, but I'll pull out. Oops. Let's see. Can't even get it out. It's green, so you're not going to see it, but it is a 2018 Bentley Continental GT3, and there's no way that I don't already have one of these in here. Yeah, Bentley Continental GT3 is car number 797. So this one is going to the prize bin. Here's another one. Let's see what this one. This is just a Corvette Stingray, which I know we have those. This is this one here. I think the one we have is red, Corvette Stingray, and the problem is that we've got a bunch of these Corvette Stingrays, but this one doesn't have a year on it. It should, because this is obviously not a 1973 Corvette Stingray, but it just says Corvette Stingray on the bottom. And according to the spreadsheet, we have 3 of them, so I just need to check to see if any of these is the same. So 245. I know some of them are probably, at least one of them has to be the old school 80s. Okay, so here's the first one. So that is not this one, so that's good. Then we have 492, which I think there was a run where Caitlin was picking a bunch of Corvettes. So we've got this one. It is not that one. Good. So let's see here. 492, and then 343. Let's see. 343 is, where is it? Oh, right here. This is the gold hot ones. I had this one when I was a kid. Played with this one a lot. And this car is metal on metal. It's heavy, but with those gold hot ones wheels, with that nickel-plated axle from back in the day, those cars are fast. And if you put them on a gravity track, they're particularly fast. But on our track, I think they'd get the weight would catch up to them at the back end, and they'd kind of slow down. But what is important is that this Corvette Stingray, we do not appear to have in the fleet. But I'm going to check one thing, because we do have, there's a Corvette Grand Sport and a Corvette Grand Sport Roadster. Check that out, but all signs are pointing to this car staying in the fleet. And it'll be interesting because it's a smaller car, so we've had smaller cars. Okay, Corvette Grand Sport. Nope. All right, this one's staying. I have looked. I did my little due diligence to see if we had one. And since I don't see one, we've got a bunch of Corvettes. Well, now we are about to have one more. Let me just check the weight on this one. Weighing in at, hold on, zero out that scale. Weighs in at 29.4 grams, so that is very light. Let's go ahead and take a look at it over here. And this is the Corvette Stingray. It really should have a year associated with it. Why it doesn't, I don't know. But this is it. It is light, and cars that are this light, it's not necessarily something that tends to work out. Usually they slow down at the back end of the track. Drag just sort of does its thing and ends up just slowing these cars down. And you'll see it usually with a lighter car. You'll see it at the back end of the track, and it will, if let's say this car is in the lead, the lighter car is in the lead, it will look like the other car is picking up speed and passing it, when what's really happening is the car that was in the lead is just slowing down. So back end of the car, pretty flat. The wheels are not flush with the body. They're kind of tucked under just a little bit. And usually you want cars to have a wider wheelbase and stance, but that is not the case with this one. So with it being light and narrow, expect some bouncing around the track with this one. This one might be all over the place. So you never know until you actually race the cars, but have a pretty good idea with this one. So let's go ahead and zoom on in here, get this still picture, and we will see if this Corvette Stingray, I guess I need to put something in here so that I can kind of tell it from the others. 2002. We'll call this one. This is the Chevy or the Corvette Stingray. I guess I'll just put black. Although that other one was black. Corvette Stingray. This is kind of more of a roadster racing car, something. I'll just put black roadster. It's good enough. All right, so now we've got the Corvette Stingray. Nice looking car. How do I have all these? I have all these cars that are just sitting in the overflow bin, waiting for their shot. But that's how we found the BlitzSpeeder. The BlitzSpeeder was just in a group of loose cars I was going through and pulled it out. Okay, so here's one that could actually probably beat the BlitzSpeeder, maybe, and for all the wrong reasons. But let's pull it anyway. Oops. Pull it and drop it. It is this one. It is the Hypertruck. And I'm going to check to make sure we don't already have one. But the reason I say it could beat the BlitzSpeeder is because, one, it is one of those track stars cars, a fantasy car. It's got the low profile, plus it's almost all plastic. It's very light, but it's got a metal base, and I think the size would keep it in that sweet spot. Let's see, do we already have one? We do, number 310, the Hypertruck. So we already have one. I am surprised. I don't remember what it looks like unless it looks exactly like this one. 310. Oh, okay, it's the silver one. Okay, so we already have a Hypertruck. So this Hypertruck, although now it's different because this Hypertruck is, the wheels are different, and usually if the wheels are different, that's kind of the thing I'm looking at. If the wheels are different, then I don't mind the duplicates. We had that situation with the Speed Slayers, but one Speed Slayer had really thin wheels and the other one had like regular wheels, so there was more of a difference. I think we might have to have a Hypertruck versus Hypertruck Showdown. So let me double check what the number is on this one. The number is 310. I think we're going to have to see. So what we'll do is, if this Hypertruck, if this yellow Hypertruck, we're not taking the other one out of the fleet. That gray one is going to stay in the fleet, but it will race this yellow one. If the gray Hypertruck can beat the yellow Hypertruck, then the yellow Hypertruck goes to the prize bin. If the gray silver Hypertruck loses to the yellow Hypertruck, then the yellow Hypertruck gets to stay in the fleet. So I might as well, at the very least, I'll take a picture of this new one because maybe it'll get to stay. So let's go ahead and take a look check the weight. The weight is 32.7 grams, so just at the front end of the sweet spot. I'll just take the still picture. I won't shoot the video right now. Just the still picture is good enough. And if this car can beat out the other Hypertruck, it will get to stay. If it can't, then off to the prize bin it will go. So now we have two Hypertrucks ready to go. We'll see if this one can make it in. But part of the reason why I was saying I think this could compete with the BlitzSpeeder is just it's so light, but it's a bigger car. So usually when we get the light cars, they are smaller, kind of like with the Stingray. This one is a big wide car. It's got the best for track stars wheels. I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if the axles are actually different like the gold hot ones, or if it's just some kind of marketing gimmick. But everything about this Hypertruck, this sort of futuristic fantasy El Camino, suggests it should be able to do something. And at this point, I would expect the Hypertruck to be, I think today's winner, possibly. But it's got to beat that other Hypertruck. If it can't beat that other Hypertruck, none of this matters. So, all right, let's see. We've got the 68 Cougar. We have the Flight 03. We have the Stingray. And let's see what else we've got in here. I think this is another... I think there's two more Corvettes in here. At least at first glance they look like Corvettes. This one does not have this red one doesn't have any information on the bottom, but it looks like one of the Corvettes, the Roadsters that we just looked at, so I'll set that aside. This one is definitely a Corvette. This is the 69 Capo Camaro or Capo Corvette. Let me check. Even though I was just looking at the Corvettes, I didn't check the year. So let's see, 60. We have a 58 Impala and a 62 Corvette. I wonder if that 62 Corvette is the same as that other one. Let's check it out. 533. 533. It may be that other one. 533. 530. Oh no, this is that is a totally different Corvette. I think Corvettes, I mean, now since we don't have one, we are adding in this one. We'll add in this 69. Oh, I might have been looking at the wrong year. 69. We do have yep, 69 Capo Corvette. We just put it in there. Apparently it's number 867. So we've got that. 867 is right. Oh, right. Well, are these the same? Yeah, they're the same. That's just the, what do you call it? I see them in Target all the time, with these crazy paint jobs. So, all right, so this other one is going into the prize bin, and there it will remain. All right, let's see. I don't know that we have too many cars in here. Definitely not adding in another Batmobile because I know we've got that version of that one. I like this Porsche. I think this is a 917 LH. This one. But we've definitely got one of these in the fleet, but I'm not getting rid of that. Let's see, what do we have up here? We have a, what is this one? A 68 Plymouth Barracuda Formula S. Let's see if we've got one. Seems like I must have bought at some point a little muscle car, maybe 5-pack, and there was probably one car in there that I wanted, and then the others I just put off to the side. 68 Plymouth. 68 Plymouth Barracuda Formula S. We've got one, so this one's gone. All right. Winding down. Let's see. What is... We've got this kind of crazy looking El Camino. This is a 1980 Chevy El Camino. See if we've got an 80 El Camino in here. This is one of those art cars, so it's got the wild paint job. 80. We have an 80s Firebird and an 81 Camaro. We do not have a, let me check, 1980. That's what tends to get, oh, we have a 1980 Corvette. All right, we don't. Now we do. We have a 1980 Chevy El Camino, and this one is weighing in at a, whoa, is that right? Let me try that again. Turn off. The first weight that came in was 20 grams, which can't possibly be right. All right, there we go. It is 37.5 grams. So let's go ahead, take a look at this one. This is the 80 Chevy El Camino. And I think with this car, if that Hypertruck can beat out the other Hypertruck, then I think a Hypertruck versus El Camino matchup seems appropriate, seems fair, seems like a good, solid race. We have the still picture there. Let me grab this video. Let's move it now. Let's come back counterclockwise. It's got to be the same all around. And Hot Wheels art car. I've never bought all the art cars. They all have letters on the top, and I presume that they spell something out different each time, but I've never bought enough of the art cars to find out what it's supposed to spell, but I'm sure I could just look online and somebody has the complete set. This car number 915. This is the 80 Chevy El Camino, and I think it's got that flat back end. That's a good sign. And other than that, I think it matches up well with that Hypertruck, but I would still give the Hypertruck the edge because this car it's got that box body, that squared off kind of shape, and the Hypertruck definitely has a more aerodynamic body style. So I'd give it the edge. But we'll see, because the Hypertruck may not even make it that far. It all depends. Can the Hypertruck beat the other Hypertruck? All right, so we've got the 80 El Camino. Let me check the manufacturing year. 2007. Drop that in here. All right, so we've got the 80 El Camino, the Corvette Stingray, the black Roadster. We've got the 68 Cougar. We have, let's see, the Flight 03. We have another car, to add in. Let's see what we've got. Check this one out. It is, oh, I looked at this one last week. Problem with this one is the axle. You can see right there that it's bent, and this tire is kind of doing its own thing. So that's no good. That can't race. We have this one, which doesn't have a name on the bottom. I forget what the name is, but I'm pretty sure we have one of these in the fleet. We have this one that I remember buying this because someone suggested, oh, that car is fast on the gravity track. So I checked it out, and I forget the exact name because it is not on the bottom of the car. It's from 1983 is the manufacturing year. But this car, we have one. What about this one? The Muscle Speeder. We absolutely have a Muscle Speeder, but I really like the look of this one. This sort of the copper and white, orange and light blue. It's a nice look, but that's going to be a prize car. I got to start to thin this thing out here. What do we have here? An 80, a 64 Corvette Stingray. Even more Corvettes? Is that what we're doing? Perhaps. Let me check and see. If we've got a 64 Corvette Stingray, this may be the Corvette edition. Let's see here. Corvettes, Lamborghinis, Mustangs, Batmobiles. I think those are the most let's see, prolific cars in the fleet. 64, 65, 64. That's wild. We do not have a 64 Corvette Stingray, but it looks like we're about to. Let me check. 1960. 1960. Nope. Yeah. Okay. Another Corvette. It's a day for Corvettes. All right. We are going to check the weight of this one. Seems pretty light. It's a metal body on a plastic base. Weighing in at 30.5 grams. And let's go ahead and take a look at this one. We have Corvette Stingray and 1960. Is that what I said? 64. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, I'm surprised this hasn't. How some of these cars haven't already made it in the fleet, I don't know. But I guess I just wasn't paying attention to the loose cars. So let's go down here to car 916. The 64 Corvette Stingray. And that is our second Stingray of the day. So at least we know we are going to have a Stingray versus Stingray matchup. And back into the car, it's got a slight curve to it. The car it's a narrower car, but what's interesting with this one is it's wider at the front than it is at the back. It's kind of got this V shape to the body, and that will be an interesting thing to see. I think if it were, well, I don't know. That may help it actually get a better launch if the front part of the car is wider. That may prevent it from bouncing around. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that other Corvette Stingray is so light that I think that even if these cars get off to a similar start, this one will take the race in the end. because that other one's just too light, and I think it'll slow down, and I think that will kind of do it in the end. All right, let me get this picture of the Corvette Stingray, and I think we will have filled out our entire lineup of new cars to the fleet, and then I just need to grab the next two that are picks from Rough Shot and Christopher. They picked those on Wednesday. Christopher decided to go with this Spider Girl car, the Circle Tracker. Let's see, 36.4 grams, so just like less than a half a gram outside of the sweet spot. I think we've seen this car race. It was a long time ago. I don't remember how it performed, but I think it would just, I'd have pretty basic expectations. The back end is flat. It's got the bumper kind of hits at an angle, and I think it'll get a good solid push. I think it will be fine. Do I think it's going to be as fast as some of the faster cars we're likely to see today? No, I don't. But we will find all of that out. So that's the Circle Tracker. We've got that. And then Roughshod went with the high voltage. Let's check the weight on that. 35.6 grams. So right there, coming in just under the wire in terms of the sweet spot. And this back end, pretty flat. Even though the car, it's got this kind of futuristic hatchback rally racer look to it, aerodynamically, I think it should be able to reduce enough drag, keep up its speed, and do some damage. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see this car and the Hypertruck in the finals. Yeah, this is a good solid pick, and I like that the wheels, these wheels are flush right there with the body. I like that. It's got the larger wheels in the back, standard wheels in the front, and the driver's canopy is all sealed up, no openings, nowhere for air to flow inside and get trapped and slow this car down. So I think we are pretty good. I think we've got our lineups all set up. We've got the high voltage. We've got the Circle Tracker. We have the Riley Scott Mark III, which is now available to race on the track because I clipped off those edges, or that edge of the splitter. We've got two Corvette Stingrays. We have the Flight 03, which is the hatchback. We have the 68 Cougar, and we have the Hypertruck, which is going to take on the other Hypertruck, and that will determine whether or not this Hypertruck gets to stay. And then we have the 68 El Camino, which is a car that is going to match up with the Hypertruck, presuming the Hypertruck gets to stay. So I only need to pull, I'm going to go and pull just that Hypertruck, and then come back, go over the race rules, and then we will hit the track. So this, I'm going to put this up, but it will only take me probably less than a minute to grab this car. Okay, so this other Hypertruck, check the weight, see if it's the same as the other one. This is coming in at 32 grams. Okay, so Roughshot is saying that he picked the this high voltage because, again, one of the key things that we see when we put the cars in the wind tunnel on Wednesdays, we have wind tunnel Wednesdays where we put these cars into the wind tunnel. And one of the things with the BlitzSpeeder is that, and some of the cars, is that when the air hits the front of the car, it has to go up, over, and around. For most of these cars, it hits the front, comes up the top, goes up the windshield, hits the roof line. Most cars have a drop off where the back windshield, or from the roof line, they drop down a bit to the back, down to the body of the car. The BlitzSpeeder does not, and so what happens is the air flows over the top, hits the windshield, hits the roof line on the BlitzSpeeder, and just stays connected to the car, to the body of the car, until it tails off at the end. That's the same thing that would happen with this car. And basically, without going into a whole huge amount of detail, when that airflow separates from the body of the car, it creates an area of low pressure, which ultimately works against the car's forward momentum because there's high pressure at the front, and it can work to slow the cars down. So with this car, Roughshot is banking on the fact that it's got this flat roof that extends out to this back wing, so the airflow that hits it should hit the windshield, come up over the top, and stay connected to the car until it leaves the end, which should ultimately reduce the amount of pressure drag that this car experiences. So we'll see how that works out. It's a good plan and a sound strategy, and we'll see how it works out on the track. Let me just weigh. So that one Hyperliner, the silver one, is 32 grams, and the yellow one is 32.9 grams. So basically the same weight. So all right, we've got our cars all lined up and ready to go. And just in case you were watching this and you're saying, what are these races going to look like? They're not gravity track races. This is what you are going to see. You're going to see our 3-camera view. The cars are going to start at the top of the screen on the left in the launcher. I'm going to give a countdown, 3, 2, 1, race. I will hit the switch. The cars will come firing out of the launcher. They will go from top to bottom. They will pass out of the bottom of the screen on the left, show up at the top of the screen in the middle, the center section of our track. The cars will come from top to bottom, pass out of the bottom of the screen in the middle, and show up at the top of the screen on the right, our finish line camera. The cars will come from top to bottom, crossing the finish line, and the winning car will be indicated with a solid red light. A solid red light indicates the winning car. A flashing red light, on the other hand, indicates the losing car. And that is just how it is, just that simple. If a car crashes and leaves the track, then we throw out the results of that race and simply start up again. And then if that same car crashes twice consecutively, leaving the track, then that car is disqualified. Because if a car crashes twice consecutively in exactly the same way, there's something wrong with the combination of the car and the launcher, and it's not a situation that's going to resolve just by restarting the race and re-racing the same car. So, what else? If a car crashes and does not leave the track, it's just lost the race. And that's how it goes. Our races are best 2 out of 3. The cars will change lanes after each race, and the winner of this little tournament of ours will have the opportunity to take on the BlitzSpeeder for the fastest in-fleet title. We will see how that all works out and plays out, and I am going to gather up these cars and head over to the track, and I will see you there in 30 seconds. All right, let's see. Let me just double check the audio situation. 1, 2. Yep, we are good to go. All right, we are going to have our first race is going to be the Hypertruck Challenge. So we're going to find out if the new Hypertruck is going to get to stay in the fleet, or if it is going to end up as a prize bin car. Hang on, let me turn off this air conditioner. Just a lot of background noise, and it's not that hot in here. All right, here we go. Hypertruck versus Hypertruck. So I don't like to have duplicates in the fleet unless there's some significant difference. With these two, the difference is the wheels. And so one of the Hypertrucks has the orange Best for Track Stars wheels, and the other has these white 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spoke wheels. So I don't know if that makes a difference, because it's usually not so much the wheel, it's the axle, which is the difference between the gold Hot Ones cars and the faster than ever cars and the regular cars. So we will see. We have the yellow Hypertruck in lane 2. We have the silver Hypertruck that is currently in the fleet in lane 1. The yellow truck needs to win in order to be able to stay in the fleet. So here we go. Yellow Hypertruck in lane 2 and silver Hypertruck in lane 1. Race 1, here we go. Three, 2, 1, race. Okay, yellow Hypertruck took that race. We will switch lanes and see. The yellow Hypertruck is one step closer to being a part of the fleet. And as I mentioned before, I think that if it sticks around, if it wins these races, the yellow Hypertruck, I would expect it to be in the finals. Now, which car it will face in the finals, I don't know. Probably, if I had to guess, I would say that high voltage car that Roughshod picked would be a good, solid pick, but we'll have to see how that car actually does on the track. We've switched lanes. Silver Hypertruck is in lane 2, and the yellow Hypertruck is in lane 1. If the yellow Hypertruck wins, it will be admitted to the fleet and move on in the tournament. So here we go. Three, 2, 1, race. Yellow Hypertruck won that one by a lot, and so it is now officially a part of the fleet. The silver Hypertruck just goes back in where it was, and now we have to get to the heart of today's kind of races. So that Hypertruck had already said, let's see, well, now we're going to go Corvette versus Corvette. Since we're kind of matching these cars up in a certain kind of way, we're going to go Corvette Stingray. One was 64, and the other one just said Corvette Stingray. So we are going to see which Corvette is going to be moving on. And we will put, and the Corvette Stingray, the black one, is that one that was really light. It was in the 20s. I think 27 grams, something like that. Very light. So we'll see if it can kind of overcome the problems that we've seen with the other cars that are really light. So we've got the 60, what did I say? 68 or 64, whichever. Corvette in lane 1, and we have the really light Corvette Stingray in lane 2. Here we go, race 1. Three, two, one, race. So what we saw is that the really light car came out of the gate, and for the first third of the track, it had a lead. Like, it definitely had a bit of a lead. And then it started to slow down, which is what we see with the lighter cars. Drag starts to go to work on them. And then it was bouncing around and ended up crashing, but not leaving the track. So it didn't even cross the finish line. But by the time it crashed, it was already being passed by the other car anyway. So it's not, it was slowing down, and and that's why it was being passed. So the fact that it crashed, I don't think, it's not like it had the lead, then it crashed, and then it lost. So the crash was not why it lost. It was already losing. So we are switching lanes, putting this Corvette into lane number 1. The black Stingray, the really light one, is in lane 1, and the other one, the 60-something Corvette Stingray, is in lane 2. Here we go, race 2. Three, two, one, race. Yeah, once again, the black Stingray, it comes out of the gate really fast, but it never gets stable. And it's just bouncing around the track. It's wobbling. It's hitting one side, hitting the other. It's too narrow. It's too light. And that is typical of what we see of really light cars. And it's one of the things that throws students off, because they sort of immediately think that, well, I want the lightest car. But when you take the lightest car, there's other problems that that can pop up and that come with that. So we've got the Stingray, we've got the Hypertruck, those are in there. Let's check out, see what Roughshod's high voltage can do, and we'll put it in there against this other hatchback, the Flight 03. The Flight 03 was that interesting car because it's metal on metal with all that extra plastic trim, and it was a car that was plucked out of the overflow bin. So we'll see what it can do. The Flight 03 is in lane number 1, and the high voltage is in lane number 2. As soon as I can get it lined up so that it's pressed up against the launching block. It doesn't seem to want to stay. It wants to move on down the track already. All right, here we go. High voltage lane 2, Flight 03, lane 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Woo. Cars were kind of close for a little while, and then about just over halfway down the track, high voltage just opened it up on this other Flight 03, and the Flight 03 car just started to slow, and that high voltage did not lose all that much speed. That was a good solid race, and I think that the reasons why Roughshod went with this car were kind of evident in that race, because it definitely kept its speed up, which suggests it was able to reduce drag more so than the Flight 03 and take that first race. So cars have switched lanes. We have high voltage in lane 1. We have Flight 03 in lane 2. Race number 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Interesting. So the Flight 02 or 03 took race number 2, and we will go to a third and final race. That was interesting because the difference in performance and the gap between the cars was pretty huge and significant. So we're going to find out in this next race which was the real race, because either one of the cars had, like, so maybe Flight 03 in the first race had some kind of launch issues, or maybe in that second race High Voltage had some launch issues. I don't know, but this third race should tell us all we need to know. We have Flight 03 lined up in lane 1. We have High Voltage lined up in lane 2. Race number 3. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Woo. And I think that what we found is that in the second race, I think the High Voltage car must have had some kind of launch issue, because that third race looked exactly like the first race, where the cars were pretty even, and then the Flight 03 started to slow down, and once it slowed down, the High Voltage just flew right on past it. All right, let's go with how about we check out Christopher's Circle Tracker versus the 68 Cougar. And the 68 Cougar was just another car that was found in the overflow bin. And we will find out what it's got. I have no idea what to expect from that car. The Circle Tracker has raced before, but it was a long time ago, so I don't remember how it performed. But we've got the Circle Tracker in lane 2. We have the 68 Cougar in lane 1. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Circle Tracker blew the doors off of the Cougar, and yeah, rough shot. The that High Voltage was trying to get all the way back to the launcher, and that's one of the things that we kind of note, is that there's a memory foam barrier that I put at the end of the track, and so cars hit that, and depending on how much force they hit that barrier with, it shows, the more force they hit it with, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Then they come back up the track, and the cars that hit it with the most force, meaning they're moving the fastest when they hit it, sometimes bounce all the way back to the launcher, and that is usually a sign that you have a pretty fast car. Like, it's obvious you have a fast car if you won the race, but sometimes that doesn't tell the whole story. If you're racing a slow car, then sure, it looks like you won by a lot. But when they hit that barrier and bounce back, it really does show how fast they were moving and how much force they hit that barrier with. So that's something to keep an eye out for. All right, we have the Circle Tracker now in lane 1. We have the 68 Cougar in lane 2. Race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Similar story. These cars were pretty even for about the first half of the race, and then the Circle Tracker just opened it up. And what is that due to? It's due to the other car slowing down. Why does the other car slow down? Combination of factors, but typically the most important is drag. And the cars have to push through that air in order to make it down the track. And if a car has a better aerodynamic profile, it is going to have an easier time doing that. All right, let's see. We're going to go now with the Riley Scott, or is it Scott and Riley? Riley and Scott Mark III. That is the car that I believe Never Ending, someone picked a while back, but it couldn't, a few weeks ago, but it couldn't race because the splitter was too big and basically prevented the car from lining up in the launcher. Well, I clipped that splitter off. The car is in the launcher. It's in lane 2. It's going up against the 80 El Camino, which was just introduced out of the overflow bin. So we've got the 80 El Camino in lane 1, and we've got the Riley Scott Mark III in lane 2. Race number 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. And the Elco decided to crash and leave the track. And so that means that race will simply be thrown out, and we will restart, and we will see if it can stay on the track. Now, if it flies off the track again a second time, it will be disqualified. So the pressure is on for the El Camino to stay on the track, and if I can get it set up in the launcher, that would be helpful. All right, there it goes. And now I've got to go get the Riley Scott. So when you talk about the force, and sometimes it's not always kind of telling, because this Riley Scott car looked like it had a good pass, but it's got this splitter that sits really low, and so it's not hitting the memory foam in the same way. So I don't think that you can really use that. The fact that it didn't bounce back very far, can't really take much from that, but it's good to see it on the track finally. And we are now set up again. So the Riley Scott Mark III is in lane 2. The El Camino is in lane 1. Race 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. All right, and the Riley Scott Mark III took that race. The El Camino stayed on the track, which is a good thing, but it didn't have the speed that it needed in order to beat the other car. Now, neither of those cars looked fast, and I think they are going to be in trouble when they challenge most of the remaining cars. I think the Hypertruck can beat it. I think the high voltage can beat it, and the circle tracker. So we'll see how that plays out. We're now switching lanes, putting the Riley Scott Mark III in lane 1, putting the El Camino in lane 2, and we are ready to go. Riley Scott, lane 1, El Camino, lane 2. Race 2, here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. That race was a little closer. Riley Scott still took it, and therefore will be moving on. El Camino, thank you for showing up, but we're going to need a little bit more speed as we move forward. So we are down to 5 cars. We have the circle tracker, we have the Corvette Stingray, we have the Hypertruck, and we have the high voltage. So let's go ahead and and we have this Riley Scott. We'll go circle tracker versus Corvette. See how that plays out. And Christopher picked the circle tracker, which is it's not a new car. It's not really that old. It raced, I think, in the early episodes of AtTheTrack.live. Don't remember how it did, but it did well in its first race today. We'll see how it does now. Circle Tracker in lane 2, Corvette Stingray in lane 1, race 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Circle Tracker takes it. Circle Tracker had some speed to it, and I think that we have got a good, solid crop of fast cars. The Stingray has some issues, and I think that when it was racing the other Stingray that was smaller and had even more issues, then it looked like a better performer. But as the competition steps up, when you start to get to the later rounds of these Hot Wheels tournaments, the cars get faster, and it's just like any other sport, any other competition. When you face the better quality opponent, you just don't have room for error. And I think this Stingray is a little narrow. I think it bounces around the track a bit, and the Circle Tracker just hammered it out. So we're going to see what happens in this race. We've switched lanes. Circle Tracker's in lane 1, Corvette Stingray's in lane 2. Race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Ooh. Now that race was actually very close, but the Circle Tracker did in fact pull it out. So the Circle Tracker is moving on and is one step closer to taking the tournament. And it might be a case where we have a car that raced previously, didn't do so well, and has come back now ready to make a move. All right, next up we're going to go high voltage versus the Riley Scott Mark III and see which car is going to be moving on. We're going to put the high voltage in lane 2. We'll put the Riley Scott car in lane 1. Cars are lined up, ready to go. High voltage lane 2, Riley Scott, lane 1, race 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Ooh. Interesting. Here comes the high voltage, almost all the way back. So with that race, the Riley Scott car took the early lead and held a not a huge lead, but took a lead. But then, as the cars got toward the middle, back third of the track, then here we saw the high voltage car just passed it, which means that the Riley Scott car slowed down. And when the car slows down, usually that means drag had an impact. So the car's coming right out of the gate. High voltage is not there, but the high voltage and reducing that drag keeps that speed up and then makes those late race passes and takes the races. So the cars have switched lanes. We now have high voltage in lane 1. We have the Riley Scott Mark III in lane 2. Race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Now, Riley Scott car won that race, but you could see at the end there was a gap, and the high voltage was closing that gap like crazy, so that like the end came right down to the wire. I had to check the lights, but the high voltage was definitely behind. And then, was just closed that gap. But it still didn't close it fast enough and lost. So now we're going to a third and final race. We are going to see which of these cars will be moving on and end up in the finals. The Riley Scott car is in lane 1. High Voltage is in lane 2. And we will see which of these cars is going to take the third race and move on to face either the Hypertruck or the Circle Tracker. If I can get the High Voltage car, good position. All right, High Voltage lane 2, Riley Scott Mark III in lane 1. This is race 3. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Woo. High Voltage did it again. It was losing the race. Halfway through, it's losing the race, and then the Riley Scott car starts to slow, and boom. High Voltage makes up that gap, closes that distance, and takes the race. So the High Voltage will be in the finals. It's just a matter of which car will it face in the finals. Will it face the Circle Tracker, or will it face the Hypertruck? We are about to find that out right now. So, Hypertruck versus Circle Tracker. Circle Tracker trying to redeem itself because it clearly, at some point, it lost. Otherwise, it would be our fastest in fleet car. But it is not. It is now in lane number 2, lined up and ready to go. The Hypertruck is in lane 1. And provided I can get it to stay in place, we will be ready to get this contest underway. All right. Hypertruck in lane 1, Circle Tracker in lane 2. Race number 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Circle Tracker took it. Hypertruck bounces most of the way back, and we are going to see if the Circle Tracker can make it a clean sweep. And the Hypertruck, which worked its way into the fleet by beating the other Hypertruck, is going to have to take 2 races in a row, which is something we've seen before. It's not unusual for a car to lose the first race, come back, and take the next 2, but we'll see. The Circle Tracker has been putting in pretty solid performances today. Metal body on a plastic base. This character car, this is the Spider-Girl version of the Circle Tracker. And we will see what happens. All right, here we go. Circle Tracker lane 1, Hypertruck lane 2, race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Hypertruck took it. Hypertruck's coming all the way back. Taps the launcher. Okay, Hypertruck put in a solid performance. So we're going to a third and final race, which is going to be determining which of these 2 cars faces off against the High Voltage in the finals. We have Christopher's Circle Tracker. We have the Hypertruck. We have one more race to go. Hypertruck is now lined up in lane 1. Circle Tracker set up in lane number 2. Race number 2, here we go. I'm sorry, race number 3, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Wow. I thought, from my perspective, I thought that the Circle Tracker had that race. But as you can tell from the solid red light, the winner is the Hypertruck. So the Hypertruck took that. It was close, but now we are about to see the Hypertruck versus the High Voltage in the finals, which is, I believe I called this. I think I said this earlier. I'll have to go back and review the video, but I think I called this Hypertruck High Voltage finals matchup, and here we are. High Voltage in lane 1. I'm sorry, High Voltage in lane 2. Hypertruck in lane 1. So this is our finals matchup. Hypertruck lane 1, High Voltage lane 2. Race number 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. The Hypertruck took it. Both cars bounced basically all the way back. And the same thing. This High Voltage is an interesting car because in every single race, it is close. It's not starting off with a lead. It's starting off either even or behind. And then it's starting to close that gap. You can see it at the end. It's closing the gap on every car that it's raced. But in the races it's lost, it just hasn't had enough to be able to, it hasn't had enough track. If the track were a little longer, it would absolutely close the gap and win those races. But it's not able to close the gap in enough time. But in every race, it is closing that gap. Just watch towards the back end. You are going to see it. It's either going to pull away or it's going to close this gap on the Hypertruck. If what we've seen so far continues, then that's what we're going to see. All right. The High Voltage is in lane 1. The Hypertruck is in lane 2. Race 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. The Hypertruck took it. It's coming all the way back. It taps the launcher. And that is today's champion, the Hypertruck. I mentioned when I saw the Hypertruck, when I pulled it out, that this car could be a problem for the BlitzSpeeder. And here we are with our fastest in fleet race about to begin. We have the Hypertruck, which has it won its way into the tournament by defeating the other Hypertruck. And now it has a chance to take out our fastest in fleet car, the BlitzSpeeder. Can it do it? I don't know. We're going to find out. The BlitzSpeeder has not had much competition, but this Hypertruck could be that car. So, we've got the BlitzSpeeder in lane 1, our fastest in fleet champion, versus the Hypertruck in lane 2. This is race number 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Woo-hoo-wee. That race was much closer than almost every race that the BlitzSpeeder has. The BlitzSpeeder had a lead and was holding the lead, but not by much, by maybe half a car length or so. It never really opened up or separated. The Hypertruck was right there with the BlitzSpeeder the entire way, and it's not inconceivable that the Hypertruck can take one of these races, take this next race. It had better take this next race, or there won't be a third. So here we go. We now have the BlitzSpeeder set up in lane 2, the Hypertruck in lane 1. Race number 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. I don't know what happened to the BlitzSpeeder in that matchup, in that race. That launch was absolutely awful. And I mean, the BlitzSpeeder was beaten by 10 car lengths or so. This happened last week. the BlitzSpeeder got a bad launch and was beaten out by, I forget which car, but whichever car it was, destroyed the BlitzSpeeder. But now, it's a problem because bad launch or not, you lost. And so now it's 1 race to 1. The Hypertruck has the opportunity to become our fastest in fleet car. It is coming out of the prize bin, out of the overflow bin. And we will see if it has what it takes to take down the BlitzSpeeder. That would be a pretty monumental accomplishment, but it's 1 race away. And the BlitzSpeeder, if the BlitzSpeeder gets another bad launch, that's all it takes. And I'm gonna make sure, get this lined up right. All right, here we go. BlitzSpeeder in lane 1, Hypertruck in lane 2. It is 1 race to 1. BlitzSpeeder's fastest in fleet crown is on the line. Here we go. Hypertruck lane 2, BlitzSpeeder lane 1. Race number 3. Three, two, one, race. The BlitzSpeeder got a solid launch. The BlitzSpeeder held that lead. It was a little bit bigger than the lead it held in the first race, but it got the job done. It was enough to hold off the Hypertruck, and the BlitzSpeeder remains the fastest Hot Wheels car on the planet, our fastest in fleet car. I'm going to gather these cars up, head back into the garage, and take a look at the winners, the losers, and what's coming next. I think at this point, I should just record some footage of the BlitzSpeeder, and then this part of the episode, I can just let the video play, because once again, the BlitzSpeeder has proven itself to be the fastest Hot Wheels car on the planet. But this is also the second week in a row that the BlitzSpeeder has had a race where it had a weird launch and got beaten by 10 car lengths. Just terrible launch. So I guess that's a way that some car can beat the BlitzSpeeder, is just hoping that the BlitzSpeeder gets absolutely awful launches. I don't know if that's a strategy, but it's clearly put the Hypertruck 1 win away from becoming our fastest in fleet champion. The problem is that the 2 other times the BlitzSpeeder got very good launches, and those very good launches just led to the BlitzSpeeder doing what the BlitzSpeeder does. Although in those races, the Hypertruck didn't win by a lot. It won, didn't lose by a lot. It was on, in that last race, it was right on the BlitzSpeeder's tail. In the race before that first race, it was even. I would say the BlitzSpeeder won by maybe half a car length or so. So the Hypertruck, which I had a feeling it would do pretty well. It's light. It's a lot of plastic. It's got a good aerodynamic profile, and I don't know if there's anything to the faster, or the track stars designation, the cars with the orange wheels, maybe not. And then we had the most interesting car of the day was by far and definitely Roughshode's pick of this, the high voltage. And the reason it is because it was losing every race. If there was a point at which it was either losing or just even with the other car. And then you could see where the importance of the aerodynamics comes into play. Because where the other cars, and this happened consistently in the high voltage races, the other cars would start to slow down toward the back end of the track. And this high voltage, even in the races that it lost, it was closing the gap, which shows that it was being impacted less by the drag that was being created. And I think that the whole reasons that Roughshod explained why he selected this car and how it's a different body style, but some of the concept is similar to what we see with the BlitzSpeeder. And that when we put these up here like this, the BlitzSpeeder, obviously different style of car, but when the air hits this roof line, it's going straight across the back. It's not dropping off, because the BlitzSpeeder doesn't have it. There's a slight drop off right there, but not significant. So what we see in the wind tunnel is this air hits it, comes up the hood, the windshield, the roof line, and straight off the back. And then there's these little openings, and then you've got the wing. So the air flows, right through there. There's not a lot of drag being experienced. With this car, it's got a bigger frontal area here, but when that air gets up top, there's no point at which we're seeing the air, when it was in the wind tunnel, the air separating from the body of the car, so it's reducing the pressure drag. So now it's really just got the friction drag of the air just rubbing up against the car, because it's got to push through the air. And in each race, it was closing that gap at the end. So it definitely shows how important a good, solid aerodynamic profile is to a car. It's one of the factors that works in its favor and against it, and even against the Hypertruck. Like I said, the races that it lost, it closed that gap. So yeah, that was pretty close, and the BlitzSpeeders had a scare. A close race, then it was blown out with a bad launch, and then it took the win. So it's still our fastest in fleet car. It is still the fastest Hot Wheels car on the planet, and it is still the car that we will be looking to try and beat next week. I have plenty more cars left in storage to select from, to try and find one that can beat the BlitzSpeeder. There are still hundreds of cars that have never been picked that may be that car to beat the BlitzSpeeder. Maybe you'll find it, maybe I'll find it, maybe we'll never find it, maybe this is it, maybe we have just found the the car. And until something else comes along, this is it. This is the top of the heap, the king of the hill, king of the mountain. That's what it is. So we will look and try and find something else to beat it. In the meantime, before we get back up here next week, I will be on, I will go live probably, I'm thinking tomorrow, to see if these triangle bits that I got, I can open up this video racer and check out the battery to see if that can be swapped out to give this thing a little bit more life and get some more footage from the races on the track. I have to crack the side panels on the MST Suzuka so that can race, kind of like with the Riley Scott Mark III. Had to make a little minor modification just to get it to be able to fit into the launcher. And then what is the other thing? Oh, the those McDonald's, those Happy Meals cars, the Hollerback. I am going to hopefully be able to use some of these same triangular bits to open up those cars, the McDonald's cars, although I don't remember the name of the other one, so I'll have to find it in the list. But yeah, we got some little Hot Wheels projects going on. Don't really have a schedule for when I do that. I'll just, pop up and do it, and then the videos will be posted later. But one thing we know we'll be doing is on Wednesday, we have Wind Tunnel Wednesdays, where we use the Winsible, the 1/64th scale wind tunnel from Funtech Labs. Put the Hot Wheels cars in there, turn up that speed, see that airflow over, under, and around the cars, and it does help make some determinations about the amount of drag a car is likely to encounter when it races on the track on Saturday. And we just saw a perfect example of that with the high voltage. And, maybe there is another car out there just waiting to be selected that's about to be the champion if given the opportunity. So, yeah. Wind Tunnel Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. And Saturday, we'll be back here, Twitch and YouTube. I know that most people watch these videos after the fact, so you can do that. Just go to the live tab on our YouTube channel, and there will be time codes and information there, so you can skip to the part of the episode you want to see. And we will be back here racing more Hot Wheels cars, having fun, a little bit of science, a little bit of Hot Wheels racing, a little bit of fun. So I guess I'll go watch some college football, and until next time for Wind Tunnel Wednesdays, all about aerodynamics, at the track live, I am Coach James, and I will see you at the races.